I'm Kevin Kelly, and of course, host and creator Casey Thompson. Casey, you got a different look this week. What are you on the road? Are you you're in some pub somewhere? You look like you're in a bar.
I wish I was in a bar. I'd actually start drinking, I think, for the first time in my life.
Well,
No, I'm
some.
having technical difficulty problems with my Wi-Fi. Good old Comcast. I guess they're not going to become a sponsor after I trash them. We have a big storm down here in Central Florida, and it's just not working. So I had to go with the alternate via the iPhone. But we're here.
It's amazing when you think about it. Because um, one of the areas that I don't think WWE gets enough credit for was the foresight to do stuff with internet broadcasting.
Right.
And
Yeah.
a gentleman whose name very few people know in the industry, and I don't think he's been involved in wrestling since he left WWE, but a man named Jim Monsees was a driving force for the AOL site, and then, of course, the first WWF.com, and was really pushing for live content on the site as much as possible.
Wow.
So that was where Bite This was born. And so we started doing that program in 1998 or 9.
Wow. Yeah, that was dial-up time, right?
Oh, yeah. And we recorded the first few episodes at the TV studio. So, again, it's a multi-million-dollar facility with the latest state-of-the-art equipment. And we're recording what needed to be a very primitive audio file.
Right.
Because of bandwidth. So whereas the studio and the brilliant audio engineers, whether it was Chris Argento or Tim Roche or anybody else who's followed there, I know Argento was there when I was there, and so was Timmy. They always tried to make the sound as deep and as rich and as you possibly could. No, this just needed to be stripped down.
Right.
And yet we needed that multi-million-dollar facility to record what was a primitive audio file, and now look at us. Yeah, there's Wi-Fi issues because of a storm. First of all, it's not dial-up anymore. Second of all, we're able to call an audible.
Yeah.
We're able to call an audible and have you be on the phone to do this show. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing different is I have a bigger head today than normal.
Well, you need a beard trim too. What's going on?
I'm growing it out. I didn't have time to do the old prep. Get it all one color and iron it out and everything. I'm just growing it out. You never know. Maybe I'll be Santa for Christmas.
Yeah, listen, you never know. Could always be.
Yeah.
We had a conversation earlier today, and basically the next couple of weeks are going to be, I think, really good for the audience. Really excited about what we're going to be doing, and as we head into the fall, there's going to be a lot more good stuff. The growth and everything seems to be, it's slow and steady wins the race, Casey. That's a motto I've always lived by because I couldn't run very fast as a kid. But in terms of our numbers growth, it continues to be right there, and you share the numbers with me, and I'm like, wow, this is great. It's amazing.
Yeah, we said from day one that we were in it for the long haul, that it was going to be a marathon, not a sprint. So, I mean, you see some people jumping up and get thousands and thousands of subscribers. Yeah, how many of those are actual real subscribers, or are they bots? Different stuff like that. Not to get too technical, because I really can't keep that conversation going very long about the technical part of the algorithms and all that stuff with YouTube and Spotify and all that. But ours are all, basically one by one, we're getting our subscribers. So it's like you said, slowly but steady, we're winning the race.
Yeah.
And we're getting our message out there of what from our vision, or not our vision, but our wrestling through the way we lived it is what we're sharing our stories with everyone.
I'm trying to add my Facebook to the live feed here.
Gotcha.
Because we can continue, we can have as many different live elements on this as we want, and it's a little it's a little tricky to figure
Yeah,
this out. But
it takes a minute or two to try to sometimes have to send you a code and different things like that.
that's where I'm at. I'm trying to find well, anyway, we tried. We'll try again next week. But
Well, I guess
um
the biggest thing that I'm sure everyone is wanting to know this week, and I've heard a little bit about it, but not a lot because we haven't really talked a whole bunch. Um, Last night was the first show at the Carlisle Center for the
yeah.
pro wrestling. How did it go?
Okay, so here's how it went, and full disclosure on everything because this is what I said from the beginning. I have no
Right.
reason to, oh, we sold out and they were hanging from the rafters and it was turn away. Um, the what we wanted to do was to bring wrestling to an area that had been underserved for way too long because
Right.
me having lived in this area, I live like 20 minutes south of Carlisle.
Okay.
Um, and all the towns are very connected. You know what I mean? So you go to
Yeah.
shopping in Carlisle, or you go to Mechanicsburg, or you go here or there, but they're all basically the same town.
Right.
Anyway, um, I had never seen any wrestling promoted locally. So that
Oh
means
wow.
if there were shows going on, I wasn't seeing anything about it. I remember
If it
when I
was, that
first
means it was promoted that bad that you didn't even hear about it in the industry.
me who's looking for it, who
Right.
goes on Facebook, who looks. I look all the time when you go to the grocery store case, and you see like the cork.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
want to
The
I want
cork
to look
board, the
for a
message
poster,
board.
cork board. I want
Yeah.
to look to see if there's posters on there.
Right.
I in the whole time I've lived in this area, I saw one, and it was probably 10 or 12 years ago.
Oh wow.
So and then that same company ran once or twice at the local fire company, and I went and talked to the people at the fire company, and they were like, "Yeah, it wasn't that good." And
Oh,
I
they
was
got
like,
the Jerry Gray experience.
"Well, yeah, I think everybody tried their best. They're just not. They just weren't that hot." Anywho,
Right.
um, and it's not a building that's conducive for a good wrestling atmosphere because it's a regular 8 or 10 foot ceiling. So they had a
Oh,
low boy ring,
yeah,
and
you lose
it,
it already.
yeah, it
The
just
only
wasn't.
time I would do it, the only time I would do a show that had a low boy ring, if I had to, if it was a paid show. If
Yes,
they're paying me to be there, I'll have a low boy. I'll put it on the ground. I don't care what. But if it's my show that I'm promoting, I want to have the full element, the look, everything from A to Z.
yeah, and so anyway, we wanted to bring wrestling to an area that we felt had been underserved. If you look, if and a lot of people have heard of Gettysburg, of course, or they know Carlisle, and then the towns that all up and down 81. So
Mm-hmm.
81 from the PA line north. Um, it's kind of like it's a lot of little country towns. As you get further north, it's coal country, and there's small towns, but they all have schools. They all have high schools. They all
Yeah.
have community centers. They all have something. Anywho, let's bring wrestling to these towns. Let's start with Carlisle because it's right in my backyard.
Right.
And I started going out talking to the townsfolk, to the people, to the businesses. Let's tell your story, Mr. Business Owner. And in exchange for me telling your story on our social media, um, we just asked that you hang up our poster. And every shopkeeper was like, "Oh, this is amazing," or "Thank
Oh
you
well,
so
yeah.
much. I haven't been to wrestling in 20 years. I haven't been to." Okay. So engagement was really high. We knew we had good word of mouth.
Right.
Um, it we were doing something really aggressive because we wanted as many people in the building as we could. We did general admission where one paid adult got 2 kids in for free.
Oh wow,
Yeah. So
that's big.
that meant
That's
for
especially nowadays. That's
yeah.
really big because take a family out, a family of four, 2 adults and 2 kids to go to the movies. That's a buck 50 easily, especially if you have dinner.
Right. It's if you want to go to a WWE event, you're looking at
Woo!
close to somewhere between 500 in the nosebleeds to $1,000 if you want to go to a Raw or a SmackDown.
Wow.
Um, and that's if it's anywhere near you. You
Yeah.
know, you may have to drive 3-4 hours to get to the next big city because they're not running live events anymore. They're not putting Raw and
Right.
SmackDown in the B towns. So anyway,
No.
Underserved market. WWE's priced themselves out of the little towns. Nothing to do in these little towns. Everybody says that. Let's bring something live and local. We did kids, 2 kids in free each GA. We discounted them down to $10 because we basically just wanted people in the building, and that's what we
Right.
got. We didn't make money, but that's okay. We had
Did you
about
lose?
yes, not
Okay.
not our ass, not like we have to sell, but
Yeah.
we lost a
Within
little bit of
reason.
money within reason
Yeah. Yeah.
and easily recoupable. Let's say that.
Right.
Um, the boys, again, we paid the boys what their rate was. We didn't cheap out on them. We did ask for a little time because the nice folks at Eventbrite who did our tickets, they because it's the first time you run with you promote event on Eventbrite, good service, but they hold your money.
Yeah.
So going forward now, we'll get, if a ticket sells, the money comes into our account. But for this first
Oh,
one,
it's automatic then.
yeah, it's automatic. But for this first one, we had to wait until
They want to
after
make
the
sure
event
it
was over.
happens, and
Yeah, they've
that
obviously
makes
worked with
sense.
independent promoters before.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, but everybody's really like nice and flexible. But you got to pay the doctor, you got to pay the ring crew, you got to pay for the ring, you
Right.
got to pay the rent. I had to buy shirts, I had to buy advertising, both on radio and on Facebook.
And was concessions yours?
Concessions were ours.
Okay, well, that's
But
big.
again, we did pizza for free with VIP tickets. So
Right.
people almost took that as a challenge to see how much pizza we could eat. And
Oh,
they,
that's right. It was all you could eat, right?
yeah, we're changing that up because some boys, man,
Oh,
they went for the first part, the all you can eat, as opposed, and it's like, damn, how much pizza y'all gonna eat? I gotta keep ordering it.
wow.
So we didn't make money. We lost a little bit of money, but we had about 400 people in the building.
Wow.
Okay.
That's good.
About half were paid.
Okay.
But that's okay because we knew going in this is what we were going to do. The majority of the fans that bought tickets bought the $50 tickets.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
That's good.
So that's where we didn't make money, but we didn't lose our ass. Okay?
Right.
Then from the first moment that the show started, these people were electric. Like the
Wow.
kids,
Nice.
and not just the kids that were screaming, but the people that were screaming. Casey, these people had never seen wrestling before. They had
Wow.
we heard so many stories. I haven't been in wrestling in 20 years. I've never seen wrestling live. I can't believe you're bringing this here to Carlisle. I'm more excited about this than anything. I thank you so much for doing this. And these people it was like we knew going in, and we always say this in wrestling, it's like virgin territory. And
Yeah.
we knew that we're going in and there's no competition. But what we're also going to is new fans who've never seen wrestling live before. And so they were right and ready to react to everything that we showed them. And I told the boys beforehand, I said, remember, these people are new. You don't have to give them, we're just going to give them the appetizer course, and they're going to think it's the entree. They're not going to know the difference.
Yeah, they can do house show wrestling, and it would be over big.
We did house show wrestling last night.
A lot of gaga. They leave happy.
We gave them gaga. We gave them some good. The boys were amped, right? So they're working hard. And there were a couple matches where one guy from Canada, we had 4 guys that came all the way down from like northern Quebec.
Wow.
Jean-Pierre, Saguenay. It's like it was a 16-hour drive for them total.
Wow.
Yeah. Opening tag team, comedy tag team, but they're hysterical and great. And then 2 singles who had matches on the show. And they were like, all right, let's go. Let's have some fun. And it was like chops, come on, bring it, and boom, bang. But they didn't shut it down. It wasn't like crazy.
Right.
Nobody. There were no spots outside the ring. Nobody went over the top rope to be thrown out onto the floor. There were a couple of, bumps off the apron with the tag team.
Mm-hmm.
The tag semifinal got some good heat. The USA versus Canada little 3-match challenge series was great.
Right.
I'm gonna drop a name here that folks. There were so many wrestlers that were awesome because we handpicked everybody that we knew was good.
Right.
Um, I'll give you a
Which I
couple of
want to get
names.
in. Which I want to get into a little bit. Me and my girl, we were talking, and she's like, "What are you talking about this week?" I said, "I have no clue."
Yeah,
And
we have
then
no
we
idea.
talked about, yeah, I know. And I was talking about, we were talking about your show. I said, I sure we're going to talk about that. She said, well, what makes you decide how you're going to pick people and this and that?
Oh,
So
that's
let's
good.
talk
Yeah.
about that after you get done with that, because I have my theory of how I did it.
Yep.
And let's see how yours is. But continue what you were saying about.
So everybody that was on this show was not local to Pennsylvania.
Right.
And part of the reasoning for saying that is because the majority, not all, but the majority of Pennsylvania wrestlers and wrestling is not very good. Um, and I've seen the shows.
Yeah.
I've seen what these guys look like. It's just not what.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're in that area where you can draw guys from Maryland,
Yeah,
Virginia, New York, New Jersey, all over that area, even Canada. It might
yep.
be a little bit of a drive, but a lot of guys, you can get guys from different states within a 5 hour ride that is worth it for them. You can get some good quality talent, probably, right?
We are well, we're 2 hours flying from 80% of the country.
Oh wow.
Okay. And within a 6 hour drive, because I had a wrestler come from the Columbus, Ohio area.
Okay, yeah.
Uh, I had wrestlers come from Connecticut, New England, New Jersey, upstate New York, Canada. Yeah. So then we had a few of the Massachusetts boys, some guys from Top Rope Wrestling, which has always been a great company that has always had a great training school along with it and has
Right.
developed.
Gotcha.
They've developed talent. In New England, you can go up there and you throw a rock and you're going to hit a good wrestling show. There seems like there's
That's
one
where
every.
the what was that junior tournament they always had up there?
Well, they had the Super 8 was in
Yeah, that's
no,
it. The Super 8.
Super 8 was in Delaware.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Um,
Who was that again? I know I'm just
Jim Kettner.
Jim Kettner, yeah. He
Jim
produced a
Kettner.
lot of good guys over the years.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, he found the best of indie talent. Actually, the Super 8 was the blueprint for Ring of Honor, which we heard directly from Gabe and Rob. What if we did a Super 8 every night? And that was the blueprint for Ring of Honor. So there you
Right.
go. Because those guys shot camera they recorded all the Super 8 events and put them up on RF video.
Gotcha.
Um,
Yeah.
so anyway, so the wrestlers that I want to highlight, of course, and nobody did badly. Everybody was great, but there are three that we need to see more of, and I think we will. And we're of course going to continue to use them. One named Brandon Day. Brandon
Okay.
Day, you Casey would love, and he reminds me of you in a lot of ways. He
Oh,
is
good worker.
he's a great worker. He's rugged looking, rugged. Okay, he's muscular. He's in good shape. He looks like somebody you wouldn't ever want to mess with. And he's big enough to where it's like, okay, this is a real athlete getting into the ring, but he's not too big to where he's immobile, right?
Right.
He's probably 200 and he's 225, 230 and is 6'1".
Okay.
He's like the perfect height, weight for
Yep.
wrestling.
Yep.
He's got a good upper body, he's got good quad development, and it looks legitimate when he's in there. Okay?
So the perception. He
Yes.
looks like he belongs.
Yes.
That's the
When
first box to check.
Yep, because one of the things that we wanted to avoid and we see this a lot with independent wrestling is, the small skinny guy
Wearing the
w-
shirts and sneakers, their
yeah,
combat boots, and your guys
oh,
were wrestling boots.
they all wore wrestling boots.
Nice.
Yeah, they all wore wrestling boots. Then of course our main event guys, which were we knew going in this was the first main event that we wanted to produce.
Right.
Sean Carr, who's a name from upstate New York, who's been involved in wrestling. I think he's somewhere between 15 and 20 years.
Oh, okay.
He's had a long career, very successful as an independent worker He's widely regarded as like one of the best guys that has ever been out of that area.
Oh, wow.
And they all say he's one of the best guys to never be seen. And everybody's like, why is Sean Carr in that bucket? He is. It's just one of those things. But he's also a family man, and he has a good job with the city of Binghamton, New York.
Well, that explains a lot right there.
Yeah. So
he's a smart person.
Yes.
He sounds like an intelligent guy. That he, you know what? I'm not going to kill myself for wrestling. I'm going to have a career. I'm going to have retirement. I'm going to have all that for my kids.
Yeah. And, it's like, oh, thank God, Kevin, that your show was August 9th and not the end of July, because I've been doing travel softball with my daughter. And I wouldn't have been able to make it, So that's the type of dad he is. That's the type of guy he is. Yeah. But in terms of being a heel, Casey, this man knew his job. And again, we told the guys,
nice.
It's family-friendly wrestling, so there's no bad language, there's no middle fingers, there's no cheap heat. Just go out, Sean, you know what to do. Just go out and get the people to hate you. Well,
with people that might not know what the cheap heat is like ball shots and different things like that.
It's easy to get on the mic, and it's easy to just point at people and tell them to suck it.
Talk to the big fat lady at the front row.
Right.
Stuff like that.
And so what we wanted to do was just have somebody who would, and he does it with a menacing glare. And again, he's about the same size as Brandon Day. He's in that 6'1". He just leaned down considerably because, again, he'd been not wrestling a whole lot. So he got serious about his diet, training, dropped about 30 pounds, and added muscle to his frame. He looked fantastic. Wrestler's wrestler. In one of my favorite looks, he's got the double strap butcher top, and he chooses to wear long tights, but then he has trunks over the tights. So it's a Bret Hart look.
Yep.
And
it sounds like what I did.
It's one of my favorite looks.
Yeah.
And he comes out and he just starts looking at the people, and just the menace and just the sneer on his face. Yeah. And somebody's not reaching towards him, and he yanks his arm away. What are you, and then he gets up into the ring. So he had the people from the moment, right? Then his opponent, Wrecking Ball Legursky, who is a name that is currently on the NWA program. Okay.
Oh, really?
So he's been around for quite a while in New England. He was sort of like a heavy, dumpy guy who was kind of and sort of wrestled as an attraction, but wasn't ever going to go anywhere. A few years ago, he went to train with Bubba Ray Dudley, and he got serious about the business. He reformed the way that he approached wrestling. He remade his physique a little bit and has dove into kind of like a real kick-ass blend of Stone Cold Steve Austin and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. So it's kind of like USA patriotic, a little bit of Rikishi, 400-pound type of guy, but he's not fat.
Right.
And that pride and fight and sell.
People just love him.
They love him. So 12 minutes, and again, told the people show's going to end at 8:30. And we didn't have the IFBs and referee. We didn't do any of that crap. Live time calls. Nobody got anywhere near their time.
What was your signal?
There was no signal. There was, fine, give him the flip in the tie.
the pen in the ear.
Pen in the mouth.
Yeah.
Then this. No, it was the timekeeper would announce 5 minutes. 5 minutes gone, and then whatever remaining. And the guys worked from there, because every match was, the main event was, they were told to go 12, and they went like 13. But those guys know how to work, and you can do it without a clock. You just know. Told the people, show's going to end at 8:30. It's going to start at 6, and it's going to end by 8:30. 1, 2, 3 in the main event happened at 8:28. And then Sean Carr didn't feel like he got high enough on Wrecking Ball's chokeslam. So he stood up slowly, after getting beat, and gets his heat back instantly. People are booing him, and he's kind of looking up the aisle. He's sort of looking at Wrecking Ball, who kind of got the idea to come back. And he went back in and they called it another choke slam, this time way up. Bam. I was like, what a pro.
Nice.
What a pro.
Yeah.
So that happened. 8:30. Then we did the 50-50 drawing right after that because we wanted to make sure, we wanted to make sure people stuck around. Casey, you still there? I might have lost Casey. Casey has been blindsided by storms in Central Florida. So anyway, just to finish the point, a wild, fun night of old-fashioned-y kind of wrestling. It was wonderful. I was happy to. I was just saying, Casey, you got the storms affecting even the phone now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was just such a wonderful night with the fans being there in attendance. We've started something. We're going to continue to build upon it. And now we have, we've shown them that we will run an event. So
Nice.
Now that we have our next date announced, which is December 13th, and by the way, I already sold about 20 tickets last night for December 13th. So that's a good head start.
I think I'm probably about 95% positive that me and my girl were talking that we were going to make the trip and come to the next show.
Yes. That's awesome.
Are we going? She's probably watching.
Yeah. She'll hear on the delay and go, yes. That's awesome. Well, that'd be amazing. Yes.
Yes.
Great time of year to come up. Again, Carlisle puts all the decorations out. It's one of the most beautiful little towns in America and great places to stay, great places to eat, someplace you want to go to. One of the other relationships that we're beginning to build upon, Casey, too, is with the local tourism board. And
nice.
Visit Cumberland Valley was one of our sponsors for the show. They sponsored actually the video production. The guys from STF Media did a fantastic job.
Oh, you had a film crew?
We did. And the show is going to be released at some point soon on YouTube. And we'll chop it up. We'll put the matches on.
I wonder if you could have found a commentator for that.
Well, I did. I didn't do it myself, actually.
Oh, really?
I had two guys do it. One of them, Aaron Jumper, who works for the tourism board, used to do commentary for a local independent group. So I was like, well, this is perfect. You guys are sponsoring the video production. Why don't you just do the commentary? And he's like, I don't think I'm good enough, Kevin. I said, trust me, you'll be fine. And I said, just call what you see. And
were you able to see any of it?
I heard a little bit of it. It sounded fine. Okay. Sounded absolutely fine. It was two guys having a chat about wrestling. It was easy. I put a more experienced guy with him, John Harder, who has done wrestling for years, New Jersey Indies, things like that. He knew what was going on. And I said, how did it go? Because I didn't hear all of it. I heard a little bit of it. It sounded fine. He said at first he was nervous and it was rough. First match was, it was
right.
But by the end, Kevin, wait till you hear the main event. It sounded great. He did fantastic. And I was like, oh, that's so good to hear. So and I had my ring announcer, again, is another local media guy. His name, and I know you use the local media guys for ring announcers and all of that. They're just familiar voices to the people in the seats, familiar, name. The guy does high school sports. He does college football for Westwood One. He's involved with the Carlisle events, the fairgrounds, which is right next door. He's in marketing with that. He used to work at the radio station. These are the people that you need to have.
Right. Any kind of local celebrity.
Yep.
What of any sort you could add into the show. I did it like I used to run in Sebring and Avon Park, and I had the sheriff of the county, the actual county sheriff, Howie Godwin. He was the sheriff. I mean, he goes all the way back to doing stuff with Eddie Graham with Championship Wrestling from Florida. So I had him involved, put his name. His was the biggest name on the poster because people see that. And you know what? It didn't cost me nothing to do. If you drew 30, 40 extra people, it's a win-win, Yeah. And I put him in a position where it didn't take away from the integrity of the show that I wanted and still looked good.
And I noticed last night. So I was at the ticket booth, and I can't say enough about the Carlisle Expo Center. Um, it's not the perfect building because it only has an 18-foot high ceiling, and then there are certain, because they retrofit the building with air conditioning, so the ductwork takes up a little bit of space. At some
Gotcha.
points, and it's fluorescent lighting, and at some points it's as low as 12 feet. But again, nobody was jumping off the top rope, so it wasn't an issue. Um, I can't say enough about the building in terms of being perfectly set up for everything that we needed, and
Right.
just tons of parking, easy to get to. Staff was super friendly, super nice. We got cleaned up and had everything put away. So show was over 8:30. People are out the door by 8:45, maybe 10 of 9, and by 10 o'clock it was all put back. It was really
Hey,
a
keep
really easy
talking.
show.
Back in 10. I'll be back in 10 seconds. I get a little better signal on my phone and get my.
Yeah, go ahead, because your phone service is, you got to. It's not good. It's not good, Casey.
I know.
He's gonna tighten it up.
I
He's
hear
gonna
you talking.
turn the wrenches, feed the squirrel, get everybody moving. So yeah, in fact, I looked at the weather channel earlier, and while we're enjoying nice clear weather and beautiful summertime up here in Pennsylvania, Florida's getting just wave after wave after wave of daily thunderstorms and just general yuck. So that's why on a Sunday night, Casey's having a little time being as live as he would like to, and why he was on the phone to start, and how everything is going to unfold tonight. So we're live on YouTube. We're live on Twitch. And I was trying to get on Facebook. I couldn't do it. I'm not sure how. I don't know. I don't know these things. Now Casey's he's going to be coming back. He'll be joining us in just a second. I promise you. And as Casey and I talked about, we're going to dive into what kind of wrestlers we like and who we would book.
Okay.
Hello there.
I am back.
Okay. So, Casey, let's get into what we wanted to talk about, which was, how did we determine who we would book for a show? What are we looking for in
Right.
terms of wrestling? One of the things first right off the bat that I think we both certainly would agree on is that you can't necessarily book what you like, because what you
Right.
like may not be what everybody else likes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But what would you be?
I totally
Okay,
agree with that.
so you're picking the groceries, as Coach Bill Parcells would say. You want me to cook the meal, I have to buy the groceries. So what would you be
Right.
looking for at the store? What would you be looking for in terms of a wrestler that you would want? What were kind of like your minimum standards? Where were your exceptions? What would you look for?
Okay. That's what me and my girl were talking about. Like, well, I said, well, you can't just automatically just pick all your buddies and do it, because it might not be what you're looking for. So we're going to take some people that trusted business. I was wrestling at the time when I started doing that, so I really knew what was going on. I had a lot of friends still out there. So my first thing is, if I'm shopping, I'm going to have a smorgasbord. I'm not just going to have one thing. I'm going to have an 8, 9, 10 course meal. Yep. So I'm going to have guys that, first of all, perception is everything. I always talk about that. So, man,
your connection is crap. God, your connection is crappy. This is, yuck. Casey's.
Yes.
You're on Struggle Street. Turn your phone.
I am very, very bad struggling tonight, but we'll get through it.
I know. Turn your phone sideways.
I had it, but I'm working on it.
All right. I know. But you're looking to pick you want a smorgasbord. You want a little bit of everything, a variety.
Yes, I want.
Hey,
It's
let me
not
ask you
current.
this, Case. What if you went just audio?
Um, I don't know. I don't know if I can do that. I mean, they said my girl's watching live and she says everything looks. I mean, it sounds good.
Okay. Well, that's fine. All right then, because
Yeah.
it's a little breaky uppy
So
through the,
it's not
through what I'm watching. But
right. It's just
okay,
not letting me turn my phone.
just keep it.
Okay,
Just
I have to go this way, unfortunately.
do it that way. It looks fine. No problem at all.
Okay, so perception's everything, like I was saying. So to be on one of my shows, you had to first look like a professional wrestler, and you still had to know how to work. You didn't have to be the greatest. If you were someone that was going out there, you're trying to learn, you're working hard, you listen to um, constructive criticism, I'll give you a shot, work with you, and help you.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted guys that had wrestling boots, like we were talking earlier. So they look the part. They look like they belong there. So then I'm going to have good looking baby faces. I'm going to have ugly looking heels. I'm going to have big nasty guys. I'm going to have you want to have a Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson in every show.
Right.
You want to have the Rock and Roll Express. Of course, you're going to want to have the Russians. You're going to have those nasty heels.
Right.
So I would pick a little of everything, and then you're going to have to. And I don't like it, but it doesn't mean that because I don't like it that everyone else doesn't like it. You're going to have the flippity floppity stuff. So you're going to have some of the high flying, stuff like that. It's a little bit in there, a little dabble. It makes people happy, but you still can keep. I could keep the integrity of my show.
Right.
So I would add a little bit of that in there. Regular's a spot show, 6 matches in and out, one tag team. And I would probably would make sure that I have a valet or two, not perhaps a girls match, but just a little bit where you'd have, a little eye candy because, you know, the girls, women are coming there to see some little, hot little boy, guy. The
Yeah.
guys want to see something too. So you have to give everyone a little something. So I would sprinkle a little bit of everything in there to make the whole meal.
Correct. And I feel a lot the same way. We avoided the high spot guy, the flippy guys, because I didn't want to overwhelm the audience.
Right.
If you're running in Florida, you are. It's harder to find people who haven't seen wrestling because
Right.
there are a lot of independent companies, plus NXT, plus all the major companies, plus our generation who goes back with Championship Wrestling from Florida. It's
Yeah.
difficult here in our region in Pennsylvania. It's
Right.
not something that they had a lot of. But I agree. And one of the biggest things is, and I want people to suspend their disbelief a little bit, but I want people to understand in that what these guys do is very special.
Right.
So if and I'm not a I'm not judging the bodybuilding contest, nor am I participating in it at all. And
Yeah.
I tell the guys this all the time. But there's an expectation of what the audience wants somebody to look like when they get into a wrestling ring.
Sure.
And I think that you can have that larger than life guy, like Wrecking Ball Legursky, who's 400 plus pounds, but he's
Wow.
also 6'5",
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
and you wouldn't mess with him on a bet. Plus, he's got a real nice tight singlet on, and his gear looks great. So it all works. Plus, he's super tan. He
Yeah.
looks like a
The
star
he
ready for
looks the
TV.
part of a wrestler. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not opposed to, you know, we had veteran guys on the show because Brutal Bob was on the show and he's 53 and
Did he wrestle?
he did. Him and Tough Tim were in the opener against the
Oh
two.
wow.
They did the comedy opening tag match.
Okay, because I was going to ask you how who were like your behind the scene agents, or you just handle all that yourself, or how
No,
did
I
you?
didn't. I didn't handle any of it. I gave it all to Bob.
Okay.
He he and I booked the card together. As terms of who we wanted to book, and he came up with some of the matchups, and I was like, I like this. How about this? And then he had some ideas of his own and
Yeah.
changed some things, and it was better. But everything was set in stone like a few weeks ago. Everybody knew what they were expected to do.
Okay.
It was all very simple. And then Bob would go around, have conversations with them, and it was like, just do less. You'll be fine.
Right.
Do less.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
for the most part, everybody listened, and we had a couple of as a big uh, Indian wrestler, as I mentioned, he's from the Mohawk tribe in upstate New York. Pat Sawyer.
Oh wow.
He's
There you go.
been around a little while. He's 6'10". He's been around a
Oh
little while.
wow.
Yeah. So he's the attraction, and he could have
Yeah.
done less. He could have done less in his match, and he even said, "Yeah, I kind of felt that," and it was like, "Okay, as long as we're learning and we're understanding."
Yeah. Absolutely. Yep.
Because I don't care, and this is the one thing I said: I don't care what you do on other shows. This is the way you're gonna. This is what our expectation is here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like when I had the 7'2", his name was Tower.
Yeah.
He actually got hired in WWE, went to developmental, and I'd watch him wrestle, and he's out there taking bumps like he's a cruiserweight. And I'm like, bro, you're 7'2". You should never come off your feet.
Right.
I said, I'll tell you what. I said, you wrestle for me. You don't take a bump until I tell you when you're going to take a bump in your match.
Mm-hmm.
I said, if you listen to me, I will get you, mold you, and develop you to the right way you need to be, what they're looking for up there, and it'll help you move up to the next level. I said, but they don't want a 7'2" guy that's taking flat back bumps off a tackle or, stuff like that. That's not how it works.
Nope.
And the funny thing is, when he got brought up and everything, he went out there and his workout, he did all kinds of stuff. And he said, Dr. Tom said, you know what? You need to do this. And he's like, I used to wrestle for a guy that, and I told him when I said, he said, he sounds like a smart guy. You should have listened to what he told you to do. But a big guy like that, you want to make him a show. You want to make him an attraction. An attraction, you don't want to come off his feet like a normal person. He's supposed to be something different, something special. He could be your big attraction for, the pro wrestling.
And
that's great.
And is special, and has, as I was sitting, that was one of the, I watched that match. I probably watched 3 of the 7 matches last night. I went to watch that one just in the crowd. I was sitting with one of the moms of one of the wrestlers.
Okay.
And I said, and she was interested in his story because she had never seen him before. And
Gotcha.
I said, upstate New York, and he's a Mohawk Indian, and she was like, "Oh wow, that's really interesting."
Did he wear the headdress and everything?
No, he has more of a modern interpretation of it.
Gotcha.
So he wears the color under his eyes. So he's got a red line and a white line. I think it's across his nose too. But whatever the big headdress is not part of his tribe.
Gotcha. Now we know two Native Americans wrestlers. A really close friend of mine, Joe Gomez.
Yep.
He was Indian, and Tatanka,
yes.
which is in he's under the Legends deal, and Joe would always tell me that Tatanka had always the best people for the Native American, making their boots and different things like that. Mm-hmm. So that's who we always went to, because Tatanka did have really nice boots and stuff like that, and it helps that gimmick, that character, when you look more authentic and everything.
Yep, he was, and again, Tatanka's high up in the Lumbee tribe in North Carolina, and is well known. Was a well-known, highly regarded athlete, and his son is following in his footsteps of success in football, amateur wrestling, other sports. And
you want to know something funny is his son that wrestles, every time he wrestles in the state finals and everything, he's wrestling my son Chase, his coach Steve Mako, which is a 4-time Division I national finalist, two-time champion. He won a national championship for Oklahoma State, and then he won first of Iowa, and then transferred to their rival Oklahoma State. And
Jeez.
he's also an Olympian. His son is who Tatanka's kid has to wrestle all the time, and he always loses to Steve, to Chase's coach's kid.
That's awesome.
But he's definitely a big kid. I think he just changed classifications. He went to a school in Lakeland, Lake Gibson. He's going this year to Lake Gibson, which is a powerhouse school for wrestling
Mm-hmm.
in Lakeland. So he'll probably, he's going to continue to grow and be good. But yeah, I can see Tatanka. Chris is already trying to, try to set the, as we talked about
Oh,
before,
brother, yeah.
he's laying the path. Everything has a hashtag with WWE on it,
Of course. Well,
So,
listen,
but
they're
I can't blame
investing.
him. If
No,
my
it's a
kid
smart.
wanted it, yeah,
They're investing in amateur athletics, and especially
yeah,
now with the NIL program,
right,
it these sponsorship deals are available. I know that Jacob Mark Henry's son, is signed to one,
oh wow,
and so it's going to be. You're going to see more and more of that, and who knows? These two could wind up becoming like Dory Funk Jr., Jack Briscoe type rivals.
yeah,
Because they both came from amateur success and eventually transitioned to the pros, and I
yeah.
think it's a great story. But
So
when we talked with when we were talking about the look and the feel and the style, like I said about Pat, I was like, when I saw him, he just has it. And is he a work in progress? Yes. Does he need to learn how to protect his size? Yes.
right,
But is there that intangible that when you see it, it exists? Yes. He
yeah,
is a big, charismatic guy who he needs confidence. He just needed to believe in himself and start to have an outlet for that. Because I think he was one of these guys that was like, oh, I didn't think I was ever good enough. And again, the people behind him who trained him were like, no, we always told him he was good enough.
right.
But really, it was when Bob and I saw him not too long ago that we were like, no, we think you're awesome and we want you to be a part of this. And we wouldn't
And
have
you know
been
what?
here
And
if it wasn't
him
for that.
working for you, the former WWE, announcer, worked in talent relations, brutal Bob Evans. It's going to help his confidence, and he's going to grow as a wrestler.
Yes.
Definitely.
And is
I
still
had
a young
guys like
guy.
that wrestled for me that I was like, listen to me, I'll help you. The one would be like, hey, I'll wrestle for you for whatever, but do me a favor, don't tell anyone what you pay me because I have a couple people that pay me $50. I'm like, no problem. And
Mm-hmm.
he's with TNA right now. He got to WWE. He was you remember Ryan O'Reilly?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, he wrestles as what's his name? Um, Corn. He was one of the LOD 2.0, I think.
Yeah.
And
He's had a few
now
gimmicks.
he's with TNA right now.
Oh wow.
So, I mean, because I remember when he
Wasn't he
sent the
with that
tapes.
girl? What was that girl that he was with for a long time?
Oh, I don't remember, but I know who you're talking about.
Was
But
it
I know
Amber O'Neil?
maybe when he sent his tapes in, he sent all War Memorial stuff. So Tommy Dreamer called me right away.
Ah,
Was
very
asking
good.
about him. I said, listen, he's a good kid. He's putting the time in. He had a great body at the time, jacked and everything. I said he's working and he's worth the little shot, and he
Mm-hmm.
got a job. So
And
as me as wrestling, there's a lot of promoters out there that you wrestle for me. I don't want you to wrestle for anyone else, and you don't want them to do anything. That's not how I was, and I'm sure you're not that way at all, or won't be that way. You want to help
no.
these guys to get to the next level,
Yes.
because then you look good, and everyone wants to wrestle for your promotion because oh wow, he's really trying to help us use his connections to make us move up the ladder and everything. And that's what
Right.
I always did. I always would help people to get different bookings and move on to getting jobs and stuff like that.
All
That's
I
what I
want
got
is
a lot of pride
right.
out of doing.
I want my guys to go be successful. I don't care if they all
Right.
get signed tomorrow and I have to go find, we had 16 guys in the card last night. I hope I have to go find 16 more because they all
Yeah, but
got
you know
signed.
what? By doing that, you will never have to find guys. They will always find you
Right.
because they
And
know that you're going to go out there and help them, succeed in what their goals is in wrestling.
we had some guy, we had a veteran guy come up from the Mid-Atlantic who we're going to use. And he was just looking for an opportunity. There was another guy uh, came down from Canada, was looking. He helped out, did everything we asked of him to do. He didn't have a wrestling role, but he was involved, all day in terms of.
You have a lot of guys show up that wasn't booked.
Yeah, we had enough. We had enough to where we had just enough hands to be able to get everything done quickly.
Oh
Uh,
wow!
and there were some people that we had seen at seminars over the summer. So that
All
was
right,
nice
yeah.
that because when they said, "Oh yeah, we'll be down there for our first show," okay, great, and they honored their word. So that
Oh
meant a lot.
wow!
That meant a lot. That meant a lot to
Sure.
me that these people were going to be there. And Bob and I were talking today, like, okay, how do we reward these guys
Yeah,
for
you'll give
being
them a
there and being
shot.
part? Yeah, we've got to figure out a time and a place to do it.
Yeah,
But we've got our baby faces lined up. I feel really strongly about that. We've got enough heels that we can plug in. Um,
nice.
and we don't want to beat all of our heels into powder, take heat off of them. But right now, we're just establishing who we are, and we're establishing our baby faces. So we're
Right.
we're also not looking to get any heat yet.
Yeah.
And we're just kind of in that spot show mentality. Let's just
Exactly.
we're coming to this town once. We're coming back in December, and we're just introducing a lot of people over a short period of time and what we're doing and what we're all about, and then we can start to mix and match when we add more events in.
How were your referees?
Oh,
Because that's a crucial part of wrestling. A
okay.
referee, as we talked about, can ruin a match.
We had two fantastic referees. There's referee.
Oh.
Both of them have red hair, which was funny. We were laughing about that. And one of them had glasses on before the show, and I was like, perfect, four-eyed referee, exactly what we need. Yeah. Um, Ben Barnett is our senior official. He's in. I've seen him on some other shows, and he's in better shape than most of the boys that were on that show.
Wow.
He's fantastic. He's handsome. He's good looking. WWE should hire him tomorrow. And he's a great referee. When I
Wow.
told he hates tag matches because invariably they start diming him out, and he doesn't want to get in the way, but he has to have credibility, and he stresses that to the guys. And he's young and he's smart. He's going to go far. The other referee
Wow.
was a guy he recommended. His name was James. His last name escapes me. Here's how great James was. James is refereeing the semifinal, the tag team match. And one heel has the babyface covered and the other heel is in the ring. And he refuses to start to count the pin until the other one gets out.
Oh, wow.
And at first, the heels were like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "No, get out of the ring." And he got out of the ring, and then it was a spot anyway, 1, 2, kick out.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what was going to happen. And I said to them, and as soon as I saw that, I was like, "Oh my God." And Ben was there with me, and I was like, "Oh, I love you so much, Ben, and I love James so much because of what he just did." And
Right.
he came back through, and I was like, "That was amazing. Thank you so much." And he was like, "Oh, was that the right thing to do?" And I said, "Yes, that was the right thing
Yeah.
to do. It was the perfect thing to do. And you were exactly right for doing it." We had one
It's
match that
like
they had to
it's like
call
on
an
TV.
audible.
Oh, right. It's like on TV when you don't get your shoulder up for the pin. The referee's just supposed to count. It's your
Yeah.
responsibility to get your shoulder up.
Yep. And
So, what audible did you have to catch? I mean, call.
the audible that was called. So the other referee, Ben, roll up tights, 1, 2, nope, babyface is in the ropes. Okay, damn it. So then they called audible number 2, and it was a more high impact cover. 1, 2. Well, guess what? Now you're in the ropes. Oh man! And then they went back and they did the original finish again. It took them 3 versions to do it, but they eventually got it right. The fans had no idea.
Nice.
The fans had absolutely no idea. And I brought all 3 of them together, and I was like, "That's exactly how you do this. That's
Yep.
exactly what this is supposed to be." Um, things got a little wonky the first time. Okay, great. You called the second time and you were in the wrong spot. But this referee calls it down the middle. And then the fact that you had to roll him up and pull the tights is justification for him sort of kicking out of your finish.
Right.
So it all works. It gets him over, even though the babyface did the job. And the heel was kind of like a little disappointed. But I said, no, don't be. I said, because the people are loving this. We're educating the people on what wrestling is. So
Right.
any of these little things are perfectly fine.
Sure.
Yeah, and it was just a joy of a night. We had two great referees. We had every match that stuck to their times, did what they were supposed to do. The business of the match got over. We started exactly on time. We ended exactly on time, as is true, because we were running short of pizza. When I told the ring announcer to let everybody know that the pizza was here and the pizza got a huge pop, I said, see, boys, I told you the pizza is more popular than you are.
Yeah.
So it was just, it was a fun night. Now we're going to take what we did and we're going to expand upon it. We're going to start to see, okay, listen, local business, local car dealership. Let's talk about how I can introduce my audience to you. And let's start to come up with a partnership. We got enough room to where a car dealership can bring a couple of new cars in and display them on
my
the
old
floor.
partner, and this as much as I do, Cliff. He was great about the sponsorships with cars, and I mean every gimmick match in the world. We had a refrigerator match one time because Badcock's was the sponsor and gave us 2 old refrigerators to but the sponsor that pays for the show. So there you go.
That's exactly right, and that's kind of like one of my he had whatever the furniture rental place that he worked for.
There was Badcock's.
Babcock, right? Okay, so Badcock was the sponsor, and that was sort of one of the ideas. And then Jim Neidhart, when he ran, he had like a Speed Queen sponsorship, and there were some washers and dryers there for the couple of shows that he ran.
Oh, do your laundry while you watch the wrestling.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
it was different. But again, that's one of the great things about wrestling. Wrestling can be whatever we want it to be. You cannot put a car out on the middle of a baseball field. But you can have a car just outside the wrestling ring. And how many times have there's been shows at used car dealerships and the boys wind up taking a bump on the the one junker that they put in the spot. Yeah, you can take a backdrop on this and break the glass. We don't care. It's going to the scrapyard.
Yep.
So that's one of the beauties of wrestling, is that it's all controllable and it's all like however we want to present it. And it's super sponsor friendly and the fans love it.
Yeah. And being in a smaller community makes it that much easier, because I guarantee you they're talking about it. What'd you do this weekend? Oh, we went to this wrestling at the Carlisle Center, and boom, and word of mouth. That's how you build. And, you started off with almost 400 people in the building.
Mm-hmm.
That is, first of all, that makes you guys want to work harder because they have a good crowd out there.
Yes.
Because any 400 people is a success in independent wrestling, any way you look at it, because you're going to get between 50, 75, 100 people. 150 people is probably a good crowd these days.
Sure.
So, they're looking at a lot of the, you look at national televised products, they're not drawing, house shows. They're not even drawing, 1,000 people. So
some of the bigger companies are struggling, but there are a lot of independent wrestling companies that are doing really well. Like Below Zero Wrestling in South Dakota ran an event
South Dakota.
South Dakota. I'm going there next weekend.
Really?
Yes, they ran.
Wow.
They ran an event at Sturgis.
Oh, okay.
And it was a paid show. It was a paid show, but they also had it wasn't just like where the crowd could just wander in and out. It was like they had to, had to stay. They had 3,000 plus for that.
Wow.
Limitless Wrestling up in Maine had 2,000 plus for their event this weekend in the state of Maine.
Wow, that's great.
Viral Pro Wrestling in Augusta, Georgia has been at it for a while, and Bob talked to him. Bob got the owner kind of on a different wavelength in terms of thinking about promotions,
Yeah.
and they've turned it around and they've had 3 sellouts in a row. That's like 700 people plus.
Wow, that's great.
And this is in Augusta, Georgia, where it's very competitive and cutthroat, and there are other independent companies trying to come in and
Right.
take viral down and do all these different things of indie politics.
Yeah.
But they're just sticking with their guns and been following up, and they have great production, and the shows look great, but now there's more people seeing it, so they're very happy with that. So yeah, so wrestling could be a tough draw, but there's also success stories going on.
Sure. Yeah.
And this is what we've continued to tell the boys, is that we're entering an era where, since the WWE has priced themselves out and
Mm.
they don't
Yeah.
care about small town America anymore, they want the big cities and the big dollars, and that's fine. It's their business, but that means there are people in these small towns that will want to see wrestling, and we can present it to them.
That's good for good quality independent wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best thing that can happen. People are complaining like crazy, but you know what? That's the best thing to happen, is them pricing themselves out where people, they don't go to the small towns. And if you live by the big town, you better save your check or two to go to a wrestling event, because it's that expensive now.
And everybody still goes. It's not like they're not selling the seats for
Right.
the same seats that were maybe 39 or 59 a couple of years ago are now 99 to 159
Wow.
and more. They've really inflated their prices. And then, of course, for the PLEs, for pay-per-view events, we know the prices have gone up, and we know that there's going to be a model where, now that they're going to move their events to ESPN, that if you are not a cable subscriber, or if you do not have a Hulu or a YouTube TV subscription that carries ESPN, you're going to have to pay to watch the shows that you had just been getting for free, by having a Peacock subscription. So that means you're going to have to spend some money to see the shows that you've been wanting to see, and everybody's like, "Oh, that sucks. That's not fair." Well, guess what? They're all going to buy it.
WWE still gives away the first couple rows of ringside. They still give away the chairs, right? Your ticket gets you the chair, I believe, right?
I don't know if they still do that anymore. It used to be a thing. It probably is.
Big. Yeah. You have any chairs?
Did we have? No, we did. We did the building chairs. We gave T-shirts away.
No. Do you have any chairs from your days?
No.
No.
Why? Ooh, what an awful thing to have to fly home with a chair.
Oh, you mail. Now they have it set up where you can have FedEx out there and they ship it. I know WrestleMania they did.
That's crazy. But no, I would have looked like an enormous mark coming home with a King of the Ring chair. It would have been like, "What are you doing, Kevin?" "Oh, I want a chair."
Yeah, but everyone did it.
Of course they
did. They were slick about it. I'll give you an example. Mick Foley, he wrote his book, Have a Nice Day. And I was at a TV and I bought one for my brother for Christmas. And I'm like, and this is in Tampa. You booked me on the show. And I'm like, man, I want to have Mick Foley sign it for my brother, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I looked and I said, all right, you know what? No one's looking. And Mick's the nicest guy in the world.
Yes.
I know him from back in WCW and everything. Hey, Mick, can you do me a favor? I got this for my brother. Can you sign it for him? He's like, absolutely. He signed it. Not a second later, one person seen me. You must have seen all the books in the world come out of their bags. Hey, Mick, sign it. Mick. They're just waiting for the one person to do it. And I'm talking the boys. I mean, guys that see him on a regular basis, we're having them sign the books and everything. So I'm like, oh, man, I don't feel too bad now.
Right. No, yeah. And that's the thing. It's a different era now.
Yeah.
We never got pictures. I never got pictures with anybody that I worked with. I have
a few, only because there's two brothers I travel with, John and Scott Allen. One time, John would just bring cameras and have, hey, take a picture. And one time, one was with Sid. And Sid's like, Casey, let's get a picture. I'm like, no. He's like, no, I want to have a picture with you. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, okay, I'll take it, because I work Sid a lot. So
yes,
a lot.
In fact, that's one of the stories some of the stories that people have really enjoyed. Some of the most viewed shorts, shall we say, has been Casey's stories with Sid, because and you could seek them out. They're all over YouTube. And the reason that you want to seek them out is because there is a perpetuation of a belief that Sid may not have been a good guy, wasn't nice, wasn't fun to be around with. But when you hear Casey's stories about exactly the type of person that Sid was,
Yeah.
you'll have a different perception of the late great Sid.
Yeah. If you don't believe me, ask Rob Van Dam. He'll tell you the same thing.
There you go. And people that I worked with, they were in fear of Sid coming back in '96 because his first run there, he wasn't behaving himself, and it was a pressure
Right.
cooker situation, and he was a young guy, and he was immature, and he didn't handle it well.
Yeah.
And kind of took some of that frustration out on the cameraman, on the time, the folks behind the scenes, and they were like, "Oh no, Sid's coming back." I'm like, "What's wrong with that?" "Oh, he's terrible, Kevin. Just you wait and see." And it was just the opposite. And he
Yeah.
was much nicer, and I think he did his apologies to everybody that he had seen during his first
Oh, that's
run
great.
when he came back
Yeah.
around. Because he was
You know,
20, what was he, 26, and still green in the business, and
yeah.
he's thrust into the main event spot with Hogan. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. So when I sit at home, sometimes I just look at things while I'm watching TV. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I look at like my favorite championship belts, and um, I've been looking a lot, Googling, looking a lot for old like Barry Windham and Blackjack Mulligan, their boots they wore, and I found out they're
Okay.
from the Austin Hall boot, and they make cowboy boots, custom cowboy boots. They're out of El Paso, Texas. They're
Okay.
closed and everything, but I've been Googling it and looking at it and everything, and I'm like, man, those boots are awesome. Basically, it's a custom boot, and they just take them and have they do it for them, put the crater sole on, but you could buy the boot and just put the sole on. It's the same pair that they have. And I'm like, man, that would make me almost want to like get back in shape and start wrestling again just to wear those boots. It's just
Well, so okay,
they're fun to look at.
go back and tell me again. Now, when you buy a boot, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
got the big leather, sole, and it's got a huge
Crater
heel
sole.
on it.
Yep.
Okay, so what is a crater sole for wrestling?
It's it's like a rubber sole. It's flat, so there's no knobs or anything to get caught on. Like it's a very smooth surface where you don't get caught on the ring mat, the tarp or anything like that, the canvas. So it's just a smooth. I can't even talk now. Smooth rubber sole.
Mm-hmm.
So I've resold boots before, and hey, can you put some crater soles on it? I don't. That's what they call them, crater soles.
I never
They're like,
heard
yeah, no
that.
problem. Yeah.
And now I've learned
So
something new because I never heard it
yeah,
described as that.
yeah. I actually opened up my Halliburton, and I was looking at it. My boots are in there. My boots. I'm like, wow, these things I should bronze them or get them refurbished.
Yeah.
My girl's like, what is that on it? I said, oh, that's black tape because the heel was blown out, and I was covering it up, with black sport tape from my wrist. And yeah, they're really, they're black patent leather boots,
Mm-hmm.
and it was probably, I don't know, I've had like probably 10 different pairs over the years, but I got my boots from back the old days from B&A boots. So that's
Being
Bill Ash.
Yes, and
Yeah.
that was one of the names. Yes, that same Bill Ash that wrestled in Continental,
Yeah.
and I was like, I asked Dr. Tom. I was like, Bill Ash was small, and he wasn't a good promo. Why did the Fullers feature him? Like, well, if you're
He
making
made the boots.
boots and you can get
Yeah.
a little discount, I was
And
like,
and my
oh,
trunks were K&H.
K&H.
Yeah.
Now,
So,
and of course, K&H is and these companies are long since gone.
yeah.
But yeah, you had your K&H trunks, you had your B&A boots.
Yeah.
And if you and then of course if you're wearing boots outside the ring, which you should, Blackjack Mulligan said you needed to get some snakeskin boots and a Cadillac, and then you were in the wrestling business.
There you go. And I remember I was talking to Rey Mysterio when he wrestled in WCW in the
Mm-hmm.
cruiserweight division and everything. And he would tell me that he would get his stuff made in Mexico, his mask, his trunk, his long tights, and his boots cost him about 30 or 40 American dollars each time. I'm
That's
like,
it.
whoa. Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
and
I
it's
guess the
like,
peso.
yeah. So I saw even this weekend I was looking. You can buy a really nice pair of wrestling boots, for $130, $140 nowadays over from Mexico, and
Well,
their quality is always good.
the quality is good. Will they arrive when you need them?
Well, you have to
Is
probably order in time.
Yeah, like maybe never is
Yeah,
when they'll show up. And that's the risk. But to find a good bootmaker now, once you have
right.
that relationship, you're sharing it with all the boys. And I would imagine when it got away from K&H and kind of the wrestling gear and more into the seamstress model,
Yeah,
that those relationships were really valued, and you guys would share
sure.
those names and numbers, correct?
Oh yeah, there was MVP when he was here. I used one of his seamstress, a guy that did all of his stuff, and I've had about three or four of them. There was what was her name? She was out of Tampa. She did everyone's gear out of Tampa. If you lived in Tampa, she made your gear at one
Right.
point. And if I could had to really think about it, I could probably figure out her name. But she
Was
made,
she the woman who did Savage's robes?
yes, yes,
I can't remember her name, but I know who you're talking about.
she did everyone's. So,
Hey,
but yeah,
here's a little off topic, but exactly on topic. And because when you start looking at stuff on YouTube, and like you were saying, you started going down rabbit holes and looking up boots and things like that.
yeah.
I have been on a Paul Orndorff jaunt.
Oh, wow.
Dude, how amazing was Paul Orndorff?
Oh,
And
he was
what a
great.
run. What a run he had.
Yeah.
84, he had, how long was he in the business? 6 years? 7 years?
Right. Yeah.
And he goes to New York and he's figured in and he's the top heel opposite Hogan.
So he's making money. He's on the A team
What do you think he made?
main event. Oh man, I back then he was probably making. This is just a guess. House shows, if he's wrestling Hogan on it, probably $3,000-4,000 a night.
Man,
That's just a guess, but I could
I
be wrong. But I think I'm,
that sounds right.
because yeah, because some guys were making $400 or $500. So yeah, he's main event with Hogan. You're definitely making that.
I saw a few pay sheets. Um, they had a file of them, and I don't know if it still exists. But file drawer full of old information and just old
Oh wow,
stuff. And so Finkel
that was in
showed me,
WWE.
yeah, this was in WWF office.
Oh man, that's priceless stuff now.
Yeah. And Finkel showed me, so I just pulled out just a file folder, and just started looking at stuff. And it was agent reports that he had typed up.
Oh,
Um,
those have been great. Just read.
yeah. And the agents would call on a payphone and leave a voicemail.
Yeah.
And then Finkel would go to the office early in the morning and transcribe it. And then Vince and everybody that needed to know got an agent report. But so the
Right.
agent reports were in there, and a few pay sheets were in there. And one pay
Wow.
sheet was from the Garden, and it was Steve Austin versus Triple H was the main event.
Oh wow.
And it was 98, I think. So business at the Garden was coming up. It had been down, but now we're back, doing almost all sellout. Everything's good.
Right.
And the opening match was too cool versus somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Scotty Too Hotty and Brian Christopher.
Right.
Scotty got 1,500
Wow.
for an opening match at the Garden
Wow.
in 1998. And then as you looked up, a lot of the undercard were in that 1,500, 2,000 range. Take a guess what Austin made that night. What was his payoff to be in the main event of the Garden?
I would imagine. Now the Garden's a very expensive building to run too. They say.
Sure.
Uh I would say
but
between 15 to 20,000.
you're in the right ballpark. 25.
That's what I didn't want to go too high, but that's what I figured was 25.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and I
That's
think
his payoff for that show. He
just
still
that
has
show.
his downside guarantee.
I don't know what kind of contractual deal he had.
Right.
But some of those downsides at that point were still really low.
Yeah.
They were more or less just placeholders for just to make sure that guys were on paper, because they were making that in a month,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
think about it. And I think Triple H got 15 or 20 grand.
Wow.
Yeah. Um, and then it was seven, like Kane. Was it Kane, X-Pac, underneath tag? They may have gotten like 7,500, five grand.
Wow.
Real good payoff. And that's the Garden. So that would be one night on the weekend. That would be a Saturday. They have done a Friday night show. They will do a Sunday show, and then they will go to TV, do Raw, and then SmackDown, and then go home. So
Well, Raw and SmackDown, they probably didn't get any. They just got their guarantee, probably, right?
correct. Whatever that, I don't know what that number was, but
Right.
for a TV appearance, it may be $1,000 or maybe $500, whatever the number was.
Right.
You got booked for TV that day. Here's what you got.
Yeah.
And if they had you do something extra, then JR would talk to Vince and say, hey, can we bonus him a little extra for this or that? And more times than not, Vince didn't have any objection to whatever JR would suggest.
Oh. You imagine having access and having those agent sheets. The collectors out there, the money you can make off of those nowadays. Oh, you'd be a wealthy person.
If I was smart, I would have stolen them. I would have just filled the files with blank pieces of paper. Nobody ever looked at them. They were just there collecting dust, unless Finkel wanted to go back and look at them. Nobody really, they were hiding in plain sight. They were just in the hallway. There's rows of filing cabinets like you'd see in just about any other office, but they were filled with, like you said, treasure.
Chaz Mosh from the Headbangers said that's how he got his belt. Is he just went up to the office, was talking to him, and looked in the filing cabinet, and they were just laying in there. So he just snagged them and took them.
Yeah, they had the white. There's a version of the Intercontinental title that I know was for years prized by collectors, and I can't remember what it was about it, but it was like a white leather. The white leather, they had that in the drawer.
Wow.
That was there. And that was somebody like pointing that out to me, like, this belt is really valuable. I'm like, oh, really? Well, yeah, because of this white leather version, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, I had no idea. But yeah. And that was so that's 25, 27 years ago. Ooh. So imagine what it would be like today. I just hope that they didn't throw out all that history.
Yeah.
Because again, as we move to a digital age, did they have somebody digitize all that information? Does it live somewhere?
Yeah.
I don't know. And I don't know, like, I never asked Howard, okay, so how many years is up here? And then you would add a new year and then take out an old year. What happened to that? Did it go to Iron Mountain? Did it get shredded? Did we store it off site? Where did it go? I know that when
can I come here and just sit for the weekend and just read these?
Well, okay, so yeah, so when Vince bought WCW, and I may have told this story before here, I can't remember, but one of the things they like the 53-foot truck that went to the office in WCW and picked up all the tapes and the paper and the dabba and this and that, and they just drove it to New York, drove it to Connecticut, and unloaded it all into a warehouse space.
Wow.
No rhyme or reason. Yeah, no rhyme or reason. Just load and unload.
That's probably where Sarge's poster from the power plant of Muhammad Ali is.
You know what? You're probably right.
Yeah.
So Kevin Dunn asked me, said, would you be willing to go and just take a look around and just kind of let us know what's there?
Yes.
And I was like, yeah, of course, it'll be fun. So
Yeah.
I was like American Pickers, okay? And I'm in
Oh
there
man.
and I am like trying to pick up this broken box and set it here. And I'm like, oh, these are all the TV masters of WCW, of
Oh
WCW
wow.
Saturday Night, of world. Okay, this is all worldwide now. Oh, okay, good. All these tapes are here. And I'm kind of just taking like quickie notes on a yellow legal pad.
Yeah.
Then I'm going through and there's all the pay-per-view masters. Okay, great. So we got all that. And they knew that they were getting that. But what they
Right.
didn't know they were getting was all the artwork, all the
Oh
logos,
wow. Wow.
everything that was originally done for the NWO, for every DDP, for Savage, for Hogan, for all of these
Yeah.
guys. They gave them everything. And
Wow.
it wasn't organized. It was just dumped in boxes. So,
Yeah.
hey, here's a disc. What does this have? Oh, WCW Road Wild logo and artwork. Okay, neat. And just went through magazines, just ancillary stuff that. And as I was going through, I was just like, okay, let me just boil this down to what this is. And I kind of wrote it up nicely so that Kevin could kind of
Right.
disseminate it. Um, you have all of the tapes, and it looks like just about every Saturday night program is there.
Wow.
So Jim Crockett era, plus all the Turner. And
Yeah.
I don't know how far back the Jim Crockett TV goes, but I've seen some dates in the 70s. Plus
Wow.
plus everything up until current time. Great.
Mm.
All the artwork, all of there were hundreds of posters and 8x10s and all sorts of like digital what do they call those, negatives,
Yeah.
photographic negatives, right? Anything you could
Oh,
want
from
in
like the
that regard.
promotional pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they just had a template, and they just, if you look at their pictures, it was a template that said World Championship Wrestling, and it has your name under it, and they just put your picture right in it.
Yeah, that was it. But there
Yeah.
were, I said, it seems to be everything that WCW had since 1989, since
Wow.
Turner took over.
Yeah.
And I said, and there seems to be quite a bit, at least in terms of video, from the Jim Crockett era, 89 going back.
Wow.
That was,
That's
and
awesome.
Kevin was like, holy shit. I said, yeah. I said it, and also it's so poorly organized. It's going to take a group of people a long time to be able to sort through it, organize it, and make it usable.
And they
But
could have made that a TV show by doing that, going through the history of it all.
they would have, and imagine now, they would have done that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I think they definitely would have. Again, a fascinating, and I spent, now, Casey, Kevin said, because the warehouse was in New Haven. So the office in Stamford is down here, and New Haven is out this way. And I lived north in between New Haven and the office. So
Oh, okay.
Kevin said, go ahead and just go to the warehouse in New Haven, see what you can see, and then you don't have to bother coming back. You can just go home from there. Okay, thanks. I appreciate that. So I could have driven there. I could have bounced around 15 minutes, written a few things down, left, and gotten my whole afternoon at home. No.
Yeah, but you being the wrestling fan at heart was like oh my God,
Yeah.
this is the greatest thing.
I was there until, because it was March. It was, it was April, so we hadn't gone to daylight savings time yet. And it got dark around 6:30, and I had a flashlight in my car. And I was seriously in there until about 7:15, when it just became like, I'm worried I'm going to step on something that's valuable. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And because I was just sitting there reading stuff. I was sitting there looking at stuff. I'm reading
Yeah.
magazine or promotional thing or whatever. I'm looking at and I'm opening the tapes, right? And the master sheet is in there.
Oh, wow.
handwritten in pencil with
Wow.
break times and
Yeah.
what the superstar feature was, that whatever they had, or what the 900 spot that
Yeah.
was, how long it was and where it was, segment 4, and the matches,
Oh, wow.
Barry Windham versus whomever.
Right.
And
That's
the
great.
paper had never been like unfolded,
Oh,
because you could just tell it was just this crisp piece of
yeah.
paper. They closed the box and nobody ever touched it again.
Well, I wonder if they had booking sheets all printed out and everything.
Had to be.
Well, I remember the first time I seen my name on. I got a big package from WCW, and it was the booking sheet, and my name was on the booking sheet. I'm like, oh.
Wow.
To me, I was like, you know what? I don't care whatever happens. I made it. My name is on the booking sheet. You know.
I like it.
Yeah. It was fun.
And the Southern Joe, speaking of which, is this the lady's name who made the gear in Tampa? Olivia Walker?
No, Olivia Walker made Ric Flair's robes.
Woo. So there you go.
Yeah, I wish it was
Um,
Olivia Walker. I couldn't afford her.
no, that's true. Yeah, when you look at what those booking sheets, when you saw your name on it, and I never did, because I was always an announcer and I was in TV and it was a different animal.
Right.
I would have marked out huge to have been on a booking sheet like that.
Yeah, because they put it alphabetical, so it wasn't like top to bottom guys.
Yeah.
So I'm up there by, you know, you know, different people. I'm right there by, big guy, guys that are big on TV and everything. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was cool. I was like, wow, I wish I would have saved them, but what you know now, if I knew then,
What
would have been.
some people like Jim Cornette was always a collector, was always a
Yeah.
saver,
Yep.
and has made a nice little living for himself post wrestling with
Oh yeah.
and also knowing what he's looking for. Like, yeah, I know if I go and I have a find of paperwork from so and so, I'm going to be looking for this specific thing because I know
Right.
he wrote it. They talk on the podcast all the time about letters that were written. Brian
Yeah.
Last has the whole collection of, some way he got Paul Heyman's letters that he wrote to Norm Kaiser from one of the magazines back in the day when Heyman was a teenager.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So it just, there's something for everybody in the collecting world.
Sure.
And it's just fascinating. What,
I did run across the a Ted Turner pay stub from World Championship Wrestling. So had a couple
oh,
dates and everything on it. It was cool.
do you have that?
Yeah.
Well, you got to produce that. I want to see it.
Oh yeah, I have it up there in a box.
Well, next time we're together live, next time when we're thinking about it, let's get together and let's pull out some of the Casey memorabilia.
Oh okay. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that'd be a fun little walkthrough, because it'll probably spark some memories.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure.
What was this picture? Where were you at? What were you doing? And yeah, I think the fans would like that. They would get a kick. Our
Yeah.
fans? You kidding me? They love all that shit.
And I had some promotional pictures from WCW because you know you network, you get to know the photographers and people like that, and for
Mm-hmm.
them to take some pictures of you and have them do a run and send you a box of pictures was nothing,
Right.
Yeah, so that stuff was always cool too.
That is neat. All right. Well, Casey and I, of course, have been walking through a whole lot of different territories, and every episode, it's kind of like a warehouse find, because we're never quite sure what we're gonna walk into or open up as we start a particular topic. But that's kind
Right.
of one of the hidden treasures of this show, is that with Casey and I talking, we're going to find and we're going to uncover little things like, I learned, what was the name of that boot bottom again?
Oh, Crater Soul.
I never heard the term crater sole until tonight.
Yeah.
But that's the type of thing that, again, was a thing back then. So if you ordered a pair of boots with crater soles, you were able to wear those in the ring and trust me, your opponent wouldn't want you in there slipping and sliding and kicking him
Yeah.
with the business end of a hard soled boot, which was also part of the reason. Plus, you'd be running the ropes and risking your neck. Crazy.
Yeah. And then we learned that Steve Austin made 25 G's at Madison Square Garden.
Exactly.
So
But
that's
you knew it. And listen, nobody was. I doubt Scotty Tuhani was crying the blues when he got his $1,500 payoff for the Garden.
Yeah. I'm
Think
sure
about
Kipper was happy with his 5 G's that night.
Probably, yeah. I think he was in that 5G range.
Yeah.
Him and Ken Shamrock in some sort of fashion. I wonder how much, of course, lasted because they're in New York, and $5,000 can go away pretty quickly in New York City, Casey, as I'm sure you've been told throughout the years.
Yeah. Sure.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the In-Ring Wrestling Podcast. We want to thank you for joining us live. We also want to thank everybody in advance for downloading this episode. Of course, if you're watching us on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, tell the world, tell everyone you know, and enjoy those shorts because all of those numbers help our algorithms. The more you like it, the more people will get to see it, and the more they'll like it. So there you go.
And make sure everyone sends an email to Comcast about my service I get down here in Central Florida.
Son of a bitch. Comcast.
I know.
Well, hopefully the weather is supposed to be crummy for the next few days down there, it looks like.
Yeah, we'll be back next week, and we'll have a good connection, good episode. We'll be good to go.
There you go. All right. So for host, creator, and user of iPhone technology, Casey Thompson, I'm Kevin Kelly. We will see you next time on the In-Ring Wrestling Podcast.